What's up, guys? Check this thing out. This is a one-of-a-kind, only one in the world, made by Uncle Dale, otherwise known as Heavy D, out of Pennsylvania. He's a motorcycle collector down there who built this bike. He's had it for about 15, 20 years, and he's getting up there in years, and like I am, and liquidating some of his collection. He sold quite a few of his bikes, and he wanted this one to come to us, so he bought it up, and along with some other bikes, and he told me the whole history of this. He started out, he wanted to build a mini chopper, based on a 4-cylinder Honda motor. This is back when choppers were all the craze. So he went out, he bought the frame. I have all the receipts. He paid $500 for the frame. It's a brand new chopper frame specifically for this engine, and he handcrafted it nights and weekends in his garage with his friends. There's a total of $2,231 in invoices for the parts that he purchased for it. The paint was done by Free, one of his friends, and he put a special thanks on the tank here to BD Welding, Snapper, Gibby, and North Hill Cycles, who were some of the sponsors that helped him build this bike. It's in an awesome orange and blue. He actually used this to tow his drag car at the racetrack, to and from the racetrack. And I'll show you the sprocket. Do a one lap around, and I think you might have heard the bike run a couple times too. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Sounds great. Looks really cool.
So Uncle Dale actually, when he gave us the bike, it had the massive rear sprocket on it that you got to see this to appreciate it. This is a special custom sprocket he had made by Sprocket Specialties. I rode the bike with this on there. It'll only do about 30 miles an hour with the sprocket on it. So we put a brand new 43 tooth sprocket that he gave us along with it. But if you want to use this thing to tow a race car, or use it off-road, or whatever you want to do, you get the massive sprocket along with it. And it also comes with a set of 2-inch over forks. If you want to extend the front end to make it look more like a chopper, you can do that too. So it comes with the forks. Those are brand new fork tubes that he custom ordered, plus the giant sprocket. Like I said, he had $2,231 in receipts. I know he had more than that into it in receipts, but that's all he could find. I have a work order for over $1,000 of work that we put into the bike, including completely going through the engine, the carbs, adjusting the valves, getting it dialed in. But I'll read that to you later. It does have air forks on it. It's set up beautifully, and let's just say it's a conversation piece at the very least. So this would be a great bike to bring to Mid-Ohio to ride around. You can take it off-road with the giant knobby tire it has on the rear. Come on over here for a second. I'll show you the paperwork that I have. So I have the complete build process of the bike. Here's a photo from the front. Can they see this?
Yeah.
That's with the frame in there. That's with the big sprocket on it, and that's how it came to us with the huge sprocket on it. I like the way it looked better with the sprocket on it, and but Mark, our lead Honda tech, wanted to put it back to straightable. So here's the frame and engine. Again, it's a brand new custom chopper frame. He paid $500 for it. Painted it orange. Had the whole engine polished or painted. Here's the fender being mocked up. Here's the frame and engine. Here's in mock-up stage right here, and here's what he started off with, just the frame. So this is no corners were cut. The front end is off an ATC Honda, the style Honda forks off an ATC 250, so they actually work phenomenally well. It's an off-road. Here's it shows a brand new rear knobby tire. Look at all the welding they had to do on the rear fender. So when I tell you that there was $3,200 invested in the build, that's just for he paid $2,231 for parts. We have a $1,000 work order from coming through our shop, but when he originally built it, there was no labor added onto it, and he said it took him a year of nights and weekends to build this thing from the frame up. Went through the whole motor. Look at the motor. Isn't that thing beautiful?
Yeah.
Isn't that a cool looking piece?
Yeah.
The motor is stunning. So the motor was all cleaned up and polished or painted. So he went through the whole thing. Here's the original frame that he started off with. He obviously just junked that, took the motor out and parted that out and started off with the frame. So here's the peanut tank. Here's the tank. Here's the chopper frame. Here's in mock-up with the new saddle. So again, the paint job was done for free. If you wanted to build this bike today and have a custom paint job done and order all the parts, and forget about having a shop do it. First of all, shops to do that kind of work are going to charge $100 an hour. It would cost you an absolute fortune. But just to buy the parts and send out the paint, you're going to drop at least $3,500. into it plus a year worth of your time. What's that worth, you know? So I have all the receipts here, 2,251, I'm sorry, I said 31. And then I have our work order here. Holy shit. We put 20 hours labor plus parts. It came to 2,221. I thought it was 1,200, I'm sorry. So we just put a $2,200 work order into it. It's got a brand new battery, brand new spark plugs, brand new battery strap, a K&L carb rebuild kit, oil filters with O-rings, Spectro 1040 oil, all new fuel lines, a new AM ignition switch with 2 keys, a new fuel filter, stepless clamps and fuel lines, and did a compression test, 150 PSI across the board. The motor's perfect. Adjusted the valve clearance to perfection, adjusted the cam chain tensioner, removed the timing advancer to disassemble, clean, and lubricate, clean and filed the points, set the point gap, set the timing, installed new spark plugs, changed the engine oil and filter, cleaned the petcocks, replaced the fuel lines and the inline fuel filter. Then he went into the carburetors. Go ahead and film the carbs. They're gonna get tired of looking at this. So, he removed and replaced the carburetors, completely disassembled them, and separated each carb back. It's usually me being the idiot and driving around, but now Junior's, this is payback for the last few videos he did when I was annoying the hell out of him. So we'll talk about that later. So here he comes. Hey, spit at him. So the fuel tube connecting pipe O-rings, replaced all the carb O-rings, jetted the carbs for pipe and clamp on filters, replaced the fuel line. So it's jet. Wait till you hear how this thing runs. It sounds like a little fire breathing drag bike. He also, inside of the gas tank, even though it was new when Dale put it together, he metal rescued the tank and cleaned it out, put new fuel lines on it, new fuel filter, everything's done beautifully. Brand new battery. Then once you got it running, he did perform the carburetor synchronization, set the idle speed and the air screws, installed the smaller rear sprocket and the shorter drive chain, brand new chain, adjusted the rear brake, repaired the ground wire for the tail lamp, tightened the front axle, installed the axle clamp, set the tire pressures, and test rode it. So pretty lengthy. Sorry for the long ramble there, but that's a $2,200 work order. So to get this thing running perfectly, and that includes a full 8-hour detail from our PhD detailer Doc. So when you buy this bike, you'll get the build article. You'll get the work order. You'll get all the pictures, the documentation, the sprocket, the extended forks. If you're looking for a Honda chopper, buy this bike. It's that simple. Without further ado, let's get the helmet cam on and take it for a little rip.
Now for the best part of the job, I get to test ride it. This is definitely the best job in the world, getting to ride these cool custom bikes. Dale picked an awesome motor, very low miles, 150 PSI compression, and Mark tuned it to perfection. Probably ran better than when Dale originally put it together. So starts right up first kick, and it sounds awesome. So definitely a cool little chopper. Listen to this thing. If that don't get their heart going, you might be dead. Sounds freaking awesome, huh? A hardtail chopper is usually a really stiff ride, but you can air down this rear tire. I'm not sure if they have it for pressure now, but you can air this thing down to, like, I think it's supposed to be like, I think it's 12 PSI or something. So it's like built-in suspension. Motor hauls ass. Woohoo! Yeah. Woo-hoo! Long travel forks just float over the road. She's a ripper. Uncle Dale has done it again. Elan strikes again. Woo! Rumbling in the jungle. Man, I'd like to take this to the Thunderdome where motorcycles is going. Run this thing on the track. What a freaking awesome little bike. It'll probably, you can ride this thing in the snow with this big back tire. You can take it through the mud. Not that I do that, it's way too nice, but You can set it up for off-road, put a big knobby on the front too. And it does have the ability to extend the front forks if you wanted to. That's a Mark Olson tuned bike right there. Listen to that, no backlash. Carbureted perfectly. Woohoo! Oh man, Mark made a good move moving this sprocket. If you're gonna run this thing on the road, this would be an awesome daily driver in the city or in the country or whatever. You could ride this thing every day. It's a typical Honda, you know, bulletproof technology, but it looks badass like a one-off Orange County chopper. But it's a Honda, so it's not gonna have the quality issues you might have with maybe an American-made bike. Did I just say that? God bless America. But you can't. Hey, you can't beat these Hondas. These vintage Hondas are what put Harley and Triumph and BMW. Everybody almost put them out of business. The reliability of the Jap bikes, the performance was light years better than the AMF stuff back in the 70s. So listen to that. Uncle Dale has done it again. Clutch is perfect. I bet you this thing will wheelie. Oh yeah, it'll wheelie. Woo-woo! What an awesome machine. Very simple bike to work on. Everything's right here. No fuel injections. It's carbureted. Keep fresh fuel and it can go. Motor's nice and torquey. Man, I'd like to bring this bad boy to Mid-Ohio and cruise it around. Love the exhaust note, the 4-in-2 custom exhaust. Perfect little Honda 4-cylinder motor. The motor alone's worth a couple $1,000 easily. 73 low-mile motor like this. Heck, the carburetors alone are probably worth $600-800. You got that in the labor into them for sure. Yeah! Yeah! Woo! You whippersnappers! Don't know what got here. Ha ha! Pretty badass, huh? She's filling the jungle with sound. Look at that. Wow. What a cool piece. Hell yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm a little excited. That was cool. Dale, I see your vision, what you had in mind here, and the execution is perfect. There's so many custom parts on this thing, so much hand fabrication. Like Dale said, he sat in the garage drinking beers with his buddies after work a couple nights a week for a couple of years, year and a half, and built it, and it's just been on display in his showroom. Dale's a connoisseur of fine Japanese motorcycles. He's got all kinds of cool Hondas and vintage bikes that he's sold a lot of his collection through us, but I'm just glad I got a shot to put this thing back on the road one more time. It was awesome. So stay tuned. See you at Mid-Ohio. God bless America.